Hi, I'm author Bailey Thomas, and if you're a reader, writer, reviewer, content creator, or part of the book community, you're in the right place. And if you're none of these, you're still in the right place, because this YouTube channel is for everyone. I'm just trying to make the world a better place one book, story, or YouTube video at a time. So whether you're here to learn how to write a book, celebrate books, or just have fun, I'm glad you're here. I paid what for editing? My biggest costly mistake. Yes, today we were talking about maybe a bad mix of perfectionism versus a book that will never be perfect. Yes, my very first self published book, I put it through rounds and rounds and rounds of editing because I thought that the more editing I got, the better the story would be, and did not pay attention to, well, I mean, I did pay attention to, maybe I just didn't care. Maybe I just thought this was the norm in the book industry to spend this much on editing. But I have never spent that much ever again. It was my first book. We learned from it and we move on. But we're going to talk about my biggest costly mistake, which was how much I spent on my very first book for editing. And if you haven't got there yet, don't worry, you might be just writing right now and you haven't got to the editing part. Don't worry, don't let this video scare you. And if you haven't got to that part yet, if you haven't even started your author journey yet, don't worry, I have two guides on my website, a free, absolutely free checklist, and then a paid guide. Both are the same 7 steps, the exact steps I use to self-publish my book, and editing is in there. How much you spend on editing will be up to you, but how I edit is on there. And if you're way past that, you already edited and published so many books. I also have a marketing guide on my website because we all could use some help with marketing. It is a very important part of being an author. So grab a guide, grab all the guides, grab a comfy place to watch this video, a snack, and let's dive into I paid what for editing? My biggest costly mistake. Okay, so I have a wide range of viewers out there, people who have published a bunch of books, people who have only published a few, people who are just thinking about publishing, and just readers who want to join me. Welcome. But we are going to go through the different types of editing, how much you could probably expect to pay for these types of editings, how many rounds of it I did, and then the total cost. I'll have a running total, the total cost that I paid for editing of my first book. So then maybe you can see what mistakes I made. Maybe there's some edits in here that you don't believe you even need. And then we'll round out the video of how I edit now and how we keep the cost to virtually zero, very low, very, very low now. But it's not the most perfect way to edit, but you can see which areas maybe you would pay someone for, or maybe which areas you would do on your own. So we'll go through all the edits, how much I used to pay for it, how much I pay for it now, and then you can decide on your own which route you like, which areas you prefer to pay someone because it's just a lot. At the end of the day, it's a lot about time. How much time do you have? But also, what funds are you willing to spend on editing? My very first book, I thought we all spent thousands and thousands of dollars on editing. I do not do that anymore, but I could not afford being author. This how I edited right here. I'm about to explain to you was how I edited all my books. But the first one we'll get into is the developmental edit. So big picture, the plot, pacing, characters, kind of just overall structure. We're not getting nitty gritty and the comma here and stuff like that. I think it's more like, plot holes, big picture. Do we like the book? Overall, just do you like the book? Is it smooth? Is it flowing? So I only did one round of this. Thankfully, we saved some money here, just one round of it. So I paid about 2 cents per word. That's kind of standard in the industry, is to pay by word, because obviously a book that is 60,000 is going to be a lot faster to edit than a book that is 120,000 words. So we're going to go with this. I think my first book was around 65,000 words. So we're going to start with 65,000 at 2 cents a word. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you pull out a calculator and do the math. My developmental edit for my first book was $1,300. Yes. If we're already shocked right now, I'm just going to tell you now that that number is going to keep getting higher. It's going to keep getting worse. So maybe you feel you don't even need to spend this. Maybe you have a friend that can do it. Maybe you know someone who can do it for cheaper. So yeah, I spent $1,300 for someone just to tell me, is this book good and flowing and big picture? How do we think this is going to go? Because remember, this is my very first book. I was so nervous, really bad in English classes in school. I just thought I need all the help I can get. And I thought breaking my wallet was what all authors did. So hopefully it's not scaring you. Hopefully you haven't even done this yet. You're learning from me. Learn from my mistakes. Okay, the next one is line editing. So more tone, clarity, readability. We're going line by line. So we kind of started out here, big picture, how's the book? And then we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We're doing line edits. And this is a very popular editing service that people pay for because maybe we don't need big picture. Maybe we already know our good book is good and flowing and the characters are great and the development's awesome. Development of the whole story from start to beginning, from start to finish is awesome. We're not paying $1,300. But line editing, I want someone to go line by line, check my story, the clarity, the tone, how my sentences are written. This still isn't proofreading, which I feel like a lot of people automatically assume with editing. I think proofreading is more like grammar, spelling. This one's more like overall clarity and then the structure of the sentences. I only did one round of this. Look at me, I was confident. I only needed one round of development, one round of line. So I did one round, and this one was 0.015 a word, so not 2 cents, between 1 and 2 cents, 1.5 cents per word. So for a 65,000 word novel, this one cost me $975. So you can see the running total is already very, very high. And don't worry, again, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I do now, what I pay for these services now. So yes, that number is getting very high. And I'm just telling you this to, again, so you don't go through the same mistakes I did. Maybe you can afford a line edit, and that takes a lot of time off your plate, and maybe you just pay someone to do one service, and that's the line edit. That's how much I paid. Maybe you can find someone, again, cheaper or just around that price. Maybe it's industry standard now. Maybe it's gone up or down, but let's see, this running total is getting a little scary, and we're going to get even higher with this total because the next one is copy editing. Again, there's like small differences between these editing styles. Some services combine them, some don't even offer them because they just put it all under one service. But this one is copy editing, so technical issues, consistencies, names, time. I cannot tell you how many times I've changed a character's name midway through the book and didn't realize it, or spelled it differently, or just accidentally referred to them by a different name. So we got some copy editing here. Again, this is my first book. I'm scared that it is going to be the worst published book ever because it's my first one, and I think I'm horrible at writing, and I am horrible at English and grammar. So I did a round of development, editing, and a round of line, and a round of copying. So this one was 1 cent a word. This was $650. So the smaller one. So maybe you're like, oh, I only want a copy edit. Maybe you want to do copy and line. Maybe you still are going to do all three of them. Maybe you're going to do none of them and just put it out there, whatever you decide. But again, this is my very first book. I was super, super nervous that it was just going to be the worst thing ever. So I wanted to get in front of as many eyes as I could, and then realized at the very end that I spent so much money and had to spend so much time trying to push and sell the book to get my money back just for editing. Okay, and then the last, yes, I did another editing style, proofreading. So typos, sometimes I put the twice. Again, I do some weird stuff. I'll forget to put the word the. I forget a quotation mark to close the quote. So proof editing, this is a little dusting. And because this one was the cheapest service, it was 0.5 cent a word. So $325 per round. And I did it 3 times. I had 3 different proofreaders with a total proofreading cost of $975. So grand total here, we can see that it is way too high, personally for me, to ever do that on a book again. Way too much. I think the second book I was like, oh, this is way too expensive. Let me take off an editing service. Oh, look, that's so much cheaper. Next book, let me take off 2 more editing services. But again, I'm going to go through what I do now because I do not spend that anymore because that is not attainable for me. So if you haven't edited yet and you're scared, oh my gosh, I see all these costs and how much it costs to edit. Again, time, how good are you at editing, what other services out there. Again, totally open for you to hire an editor. Especially if you can afford it, I just cannot put that number in my budget anymore. It is just a lot. maybe I'll be a best-selling author one day, and now I'm just gonna have 10 rounds of proofreading to make it awesome. Actually, that would probably still not be good. But yes, proofreading, I did 3 rounds of it for this grand total of how much I spent on my first book. It was a very costly mistake because when they edited my book, I barely even looked at the edits. They put it on like Word doc, and I just clicked like accept changes, not even realizing what they did to my book. It was also not very smart because they were editing stuff that I would not have wanted edited, or they would put a sentence in here in the book, and then I would click accept changes, and then there would be a random sentence in my story that wasn't there, and it was just their editing notes. So yes, I paid a lot of money for my first self-published book, but that's okay because we're going to get into how to save for those people who don't want to spend that much. Again, you know, a great, awesome editor. I've paid some amazing people to edit my books, and they are awesome. So I'm totally not against paying people to edit. I'm just letting you know how much I spent on my first book, and it was not sustainable for me. So development edit, remember this is big picture. I spent $1,300 on it. For this one, I ask readers. So maybe I'll give samples of my books to some readers before it releases, and then have them say if the book was good, if it flowed really well, if there's anything, plot holes that they saw. So this one is free now. Now it's free. So in exchange for a free early release copy of my book, you read it and you basically do the developmental edit. And that saved a lot of money right there. So some options: you can pay someone to do it. You can offer free copies of your book in exchange for an edit. You can have a friend do it. Again, there's so many options that I just did not dive into. I was just like, throw money at it, throw money at a service. Don't even learn how to do it yourself, or other avenues. So you can have readers do your developmental edit, because you don't have to be an English teacher to say if this book was flowing very well, how you felt when you read it, if there's any plot holes that you caught. So good option here. And then line editing. This one's a really big one where editors go like line by line, the clarity, the tone, the sentence structure. So for this one, you can use writing tools. I know there's a bunch of websites out there that help with editing. So you can use those. Maybe they're free. Maybe there's a small subscription fee, but you can also hire an editor here. I don't think especially if this is the only one you do, this is a very heavy, time-consuming one. But you can also do this yourself. You can print out your book and literally go line by line and check it. You can either, again, send it to someone who will do it for free in exchange for a free copy of your book. These are just other ways we can edit without breaking the bank. So line edits, we can use a tool here. Also can use a friend. You can also print out your manuscript and just go line by line through it, especially if you're really good at editing, which I feel like I've learned to be better at now after. Actually, here's a positive for paying all those people to do my edits. They obviously left notes in the comments. Like, this is how you punctuate when people talk, dialogue. And I've taken all those notes and used them going forward. So positive of hiring someone, especially when they leave notes and are very helpful. I can use their notes for the next book. So maybe that editing isn't as costly because I'm learning from them. Do your own research. You can learn how to edit too. That's free. Okay, then the copy editing, the consistency, the names, the timelines. I do this myself because I should be able to catch it really fast, especially because I wrote the book. If someone's name is spelled wrong or there's a timeline gap, I purposely go through my manuscript once or twice, maybe even 3 times, specifically looking for this stuff. Because, again, I don't have an English degree, but I am able to make sure names are spelled right and timelines are consistent on my own. So I do this myself. I do the copy edits myself. Again, you can use a grammar tool that's free or a small subscription. You can pay someone here. I'm going through all the edits, and if you see your weakness, like, oh, I'm so bad at timelines, I'm so bad at names, maybe we have someone help us in this area. So I like showing you guys all the edits and ways you can save money, and also seeing your strengths and weaknesses. Maybe you are really, really good at the grammar and the commas and the spelling, but you're just really bad at zooming out and seeing, does this book even flow? Were the characters developed over time? So you can see where you'd like to pay someone, where you'd like to use a tool, or where you could do yourself or have a friend do. And then the proofreading, the final dusting, the typos and those small errors, you forgot to end the sentence with a period, all those things. Yeah, I paid a lot of rounds for this because I was like, this is the one I'm so focused on, was the polishing of all the details. So this one you can, again, do an editing software for free, a small subscription, have a friend do it, have a teacher do it, give your copy for free in exchange for an editing service. You can read the book out loud. That helps a lot with editing. Putting the book out, reading it out loud, and seeing where there's some inconsistencies. You can have a friend do a final check. You can have a bunch of friends do a final check. But these are some free ways to proofread. Again, if this is your weakness and you would rather pay someone to do the final check of your book, more power to you. I love that. Most of these services I either do myself, have a friend do, have a family member do, have readers do, just to save money, because that number at the beginning is very scary and not sustainable for me. But if it is for you, teach me your ways. But hopefully that helped you guys going through all the edits. What I spent on my first book, which was a big number, to now I don't spend too much on editing because I have amazing readers, I have amazing family and friends, and I write on the side. So I can spend 6 months editing a book and going line by line, chapter by chapter, because I'm not on a certain writing schedule. I just post whenever it's ready. So hopefully this helped you guys. Leave some tips in the comments of your editing, how you edit, what do you pay for, what do you do yourself. If there's anything that you use that I didn't mention, go ahead and comment it, because this is a book community and we're here to help each other out. Wow, I paid what for editing my biggest costly mistake? But now I pay virtually nothing. So hopefully this video helped you out. In the future, I'd love to pay someone to do some of these things, but I've kind of actually gotten in the habit of it. I'm learning to embrace it, and it's my book baby, so I want to put as much time and energy as I can, but it does take a lot of time and energy to edit. So if you can pay someone, that's awesome. More power to you. There's some great people out there who do editing for a good price, especially for small authors. So I encourage you to search out those people. I also encourage you to do your own research and find out your strengths and weaknesses. What can you do on your own and save some money so you're not hurting your wallet? So thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Again, if you check out my books and there is an error in it, we are all human. You can go ahead, reach out. I'll try to fix it. Or if it's something small, maybe you can just skip over and be like, oh, I watched her editing video and I know she put so much work into this and she did it herself. We'll just skip past that. But anyway, if you do want to check out my books, they are on my website. I sign them. They're stickers, bookmarks. It's so fun. Every time I get an order, I get a notification on my phone, and it just makes my whole day. So thank you to everyone who has ordered, will order, or have thought about ordering. It really does mean the world to me. And if you're an author, don't worry. You can send me your book. Send me to the P.O. box in my description. If there's a typo, a small error, I can tell you. I can ignore it. I'm just really looking for good stories and to support the book community because they have done so much for me. And if you're a reader, send me your favorite book, because if you like it, it must be awesome. And I can't wait to check out what you're reading. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time.